Good morning, YouTube. Today I just want to take you through a spreadsheet that I made. The importance of why we make spreadsheets to tell us what's going on with investments rather than just judging them based on how they feel and thinking we're going to get a good result because our feelings are right and that's how we make decisions. So I want to get right into this, and you've seen this spreadsheet before, and I just want to tell you how this felt at the time. And let's go through that, and so we understand why we don't make decisions based on how we feel, but we look at actually what the situation is that's occurring. So you see this house. I bought this house. I put in $46,000 roughly a down payment on this house. In the first year, you'll see after I put in the $46,000 to buy the house, and I was making the payments, I spent an additional $14,000. So initially, so we'll say like $1,000 a month was what I was putting in this house every day of the year. So is that a bad decision? It seems like a bad decision. I talked about this on a video at some point in that year, and somebody told me this was a bad decision and you should not invest in this way. And so that's why you don't make decisions based on how you feel. You get a spreadsheet, tells you what's really going on, and then that allows you to compare it to other investments. And so the first year we put $14,000 into it, which is over $1,000 a month. Let's say about $1,200 a month into this, and that includes a portion of a fix-up because we had some risks that occurred from bad renters. It means we had some $0 months of rent. This is a deposit that we received that was charged to the tenant, and so $1,200 a month is what we ended up putting in this. Now, if you remember up here when we decided to buy it, we had $10,000 in pending fix-ups as a risk at some point, and so when the tenant trashed the house, that risk occurred, and we spent the $10,000, which means we're only $4,000 more than what we had planned, but still that is money coming out of our pocket. And so now we get on to year two, and we say, oh, year two is going to be great. But in year two, you look at this, and we spent $7,069 on the house. Now, a portion of that was some fix-up on the first carried over from the year before. And a portion of that is 4 months without rent, right? And that's a huge risk that's occurring. If this was with your first house, it would feel horrible. You would be putting an average of, $500-$600 a month into the house, and it doesn't come in a month. It might come all at once. It might be $3,000-$4,000 in the first 2 months, and so if you don't have a buffer, that really hurts. And you'd say this is the worst decision ever, and you get out of the house and you say, I'm never going to again into rentals. It'd be a great story about how you lost money, and you would have the decision to not be in rentals. We don't have that. We have a spreadsheet. It tells us what the risks are going in, which is the $10,000 fix-up. We look and say about the negative cash flow coming into this situation, so we understand how it's going to play out. Now we come around to year number three. Year number three, we have a good tenant in there. They're paying rent. That's this year. Our projections are that we get $500 of that money back, and so that the net amount we have invested in this house is $67,950. So that's roughly $68,000 invested, and our return we expect this year is $20,900. Now, what's that return come in the form of? Most of it comes in the form of increase in value in the house. And so when you look at a house in an area, you need to understand where that house is going to end up is from a price standpoint in the next 3 years. A good indication of what it's going to end up next 3 years is to look at the last 3 years, the last 5 years, the last 10 years, and see if that area is the general uptrend or what percent per year uptrend that is. And that can come from demands in jobs or demands in or inflation, things like that. And so you have that general uptrend that can really spoof up your returns. And so net 3 years we look at 110% return. But on our spreadsheet, we're looking at a set of months, maybe 24 months, where we have a negative cash flow on that property, and we're making money out the wazoo, right? This is a huge return over 3 years. After this point, every year we expect the house to make around 33% on our original investment, which is a great return. I mean, this would be about let's say you put $1,000 in the S&P 500, and you have to put money, and you're up to $2,000 over the next 2 years, and then after that, it's going to increase in value and pay you out, or make you about a third of that value every year, or like $6,600 every year after that. Right? That's a fantastic investment if it was the S&P 500. It's a fantastic investment if it's the stock. It's a fantastic investment if it's the house. No matter what it is, I mean, it's a great investment. And the other thing to realize is that these risks are things that we planned on possibly occurring. Maybe they occur 1 out of 5 or 10 times. But when they occur, we have a plan for that, and we execute the plan. And that plan includes having some type of cash buffer, a way to handle that, and a way to handle negative cash flow. If you don't have those two things in place, it's going to be extremely painful for you. And so I would suggest, if you have this risk, get a plan for what you're going to do with that risk, when it occurs, or if it occurs, and then negative cash flow, how you're going to handle that. One way I suggest is to have a brokerage account, an automatic deposit in that brokerage account every single month of whatever you can. Let's say it's $500 or $600. And then if your negative cash flow of $300 occurs, then you can use that as part of that buffer, and part of that to kind of make it more of an investment cost casualty, or an investment cost, or an investment risk, rather than a personal, I can't eat, I have all this stress because I didn't handle my money correctly in this situation. And so that's where you really want to be. That's what it feels like. That's why you do a spreadsheet, because the spreadsheet tells you if the results are good and what you want, or if the results are bad. Now, same situation. Let's say the house value goes down over the next 3 years, and you don't have this increase or this return. Well, then it's probably a bad decision. You live in an area where house values are not going up, then yeah, you don't have an automatic, you don't have a wind in your sail, you don't have that automatic increase in value as the houses go up in value. And so might be a different decision. So it doesn't necessarily make it a great decision one way or the other based on buying a house, but it's how is that going to play out on your spreadsheet, how do you expect it to play out, and then kind of revising your expectations for how a house purchase will play out based on your knowledge of that area, your knowledge of that neighborhood, how many you've done, improve it each time. After you've done lots of them, then you'll be like, okay, this is about how it feels, how it looks, and here are the risks. You'll notice on the risks, I nailed the price of this $10,000 investment. I was right on the number because I've done that before. The negative cash flow of $292 was correct, except for the 0 months in here. But that occurred. The 0 months is another type of risk that can occur with the houses. If you get them trashed, if you don't get in and know how to do the fix-ups well, it can take you a long time. You get a bad tenant in there. This was working through a property management company. If I had done it directly myself, the getting the people out would have been harder and more stressful, but the fix-up would have been much, much faster if I had done it, taken the hands on that. So it would have been maybe a 2 weeks fix-up as opposed to a couple months fix-ups, because what happened on the property management was they have a certain thing and they start that going, and at the end of that they do the next piece and the next piece, the next piece. And if you do your own fix-up, that's how you do the first one, maybe the second one, the third one, but the fourth one you do everything at once. Everybody shows up and starts working at the same time. You don't do sequential things like you think it should work, and they just figure it out. So house fix-up, my last one was about a week. You can't schedule day to day to day in a week. Everybody has to just come in and do the work. So hopefully this gives you an example of how to handle a situation, how to look at it, importance of having a spreadsheet that shows you what's actually happening in the situation financially, so you can make wise decisions based on those numbers. I'll talk to you later. Like and subscribe down below if this is valuable, and have a great day. Bye.